Hi everybody, welcome back to Mediocre Whiskey Review. I'm Jill, your host, and today we have some 1792. Stick around. All right everybody, so what we have today is a 1792 single barrel. Now it's a store pick. I picked it up, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. My relationship with 1792 has been a little rocky. We've had our ups and downs, okay? So while I tell you about my very volatile relationship with 1792, anyway, go like and subscribe, do the things, and I'll tell you why I bought this bottle. 1792 is one of the whiskeys that I first tried when I was first starting to get into whiskey. And I absolutely hated it. The very first whiskey that I ever bought was Woodford Reserve. Just the plain old Woodford Reserve. And I bought it because it had a cool glass with it. And it was like pouring gasoline into my mouth at the time. So obviously, my relationship with whiskey has changed quite a bit. But it's like, because regular Woodford Reserve and 1792 were a couple of the ones that I tried, and I was just like, oh, this is terrible. How can anybody drink this? It's one of those, like, I've been afraid to revisit them. I never got sick on them. I never, like, truly had a bad experience with them, other than they just tasted really bad the first time I had them. But the first time I had them, I had not drank whiskey before. So, you know, and like I tried it on ice, hated that. I put it in the freezer and then tried it without ice, hated that. I poured some and then I like added half water. That was better, but like I was literally trying to do anything to kill the taste. My palate has since got acclimated to the whiskey and the bourbon, and I don't taste any of that stuff now that I tasted then. So again, I had been afraid to try, and I still haven't tried regular Woodford again. So maybe that should be my next one that I buy. The double oaked I love, and I think it's phenomenal. But I went to the liquor store that I visit in Lafayette, Village Bottle Shop, and they're under new ownership now. And I was talking to the gentleman that works there, and he had said that the new owner likes to do barrel picks, and I'm a fan of store picks. I think they're unique, and they're not something I'm going to find. Like, I'm not going to find the same store pick when I go to like a different state or even a different city. So I do try to pick them up when I see them, if it's something that I'm interested in, obviously. And it just so happens that the tiny little town that I live in has, I say a tiny little town, we have like 4 liquor stores. If that tells you anything about where I live. 2 of the liquor stores are owned by the same person. They're called Cork and Keg, and they are owned by John. I'm not going to say his last name. Probably doesn't matter. But anyway, it turns out he is the gentleman that purchased Village Bottle Shop in Lafayette. So the store pick that I picked up is a Big John store pick, which I have 2 or 3 of his Knob Creek store picks that I picked up here in town. So, that's a fairly exciting thing, right? I picked this up. I did open it the day I got it, and I had a sip, but it was just something to sip. I wasn't really paying attention. I will say that it's got some beautiful legs and some like super nice viscosity to it. So I'm excited about this one because when I sipped on it the other day, I didn't have any like terrible flashbacks to my first my first sip of it. So you know, I think we're safe. I think I'm safe here. The nose is almost floral. And that's not something I don't usually pull out like a flowery note on it. So that's kind of new. There's vanilla and caramel. Overall beautiful nose on it. So let's go in for a sip. I did look up just a touch of information on it. I didn't do a lot of digging, but sip number 1 first. Right off the bat, it was like a warm vanilla. It wasn't like a baking vanilla. It was, excuse me, like, I'm trying to think about what to compare it to, and so far I've got nothing. But it was vanilla, and it was warm, and it was delicious. There was a bit of spice on it, which, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, okay? So the information that I got, obviously 1792 is made at Barton Distillery. This is 98.6 proof. I looked up the mash bill on Google, and what it said is that it is believed to be, so maybe it's not confirmed, but either way, what I found was 74% corn, 18% rye, and 8% malted barley. And I also looked up an age statement. There's no age statement on the bottle. And what I found for an age statement was believed to be 6 to 8 years for 1792, except for the aged 12 years. So we're looking, I would guess 6 to 8 years, and that's, I would believe that. It doesn't smell or taste really much younger. Definitely, I don't think it's got a ton of age on it, but I think 6 to 8 years is a good range, right? Like, I don't think that most things that are aged 6 to 8 years, I think are very good. I had a sip of an 18-year Elijah Craig. I forgot what I was going to say. At a tasting that I went to, and I was just not a fan. It was very low proof, but it was not stellar, and especially for the price tag, but whatever. That's another story. I got some, it's going to sound really silly, and I'm okay with that. I've been known to be silly, but it was like a cherry, it was like a cherry flavored butterscotch. I don't know how else to describe what hit my mouth. So that's what I'm going with, and I'm going to stick with that right now. So, yeah, I'm going to stick there. The spice on that sip was a little bit less. Typically, for me, first sip is always spicy. Second sip is a little less. Third sip, it's almost non-existent. And I know that that is just my palate acclimating to the whiskey that I'm drinking. So anytime I take one sip and it's spicy, I'm like, that's going to go away soon. So that's why I do 3 sips, 4 sips, whatever. But overall, there is nothing bad out of this so far. The cherry butterscotch is a little odd. It's weird and different, but it wasn't a bad flavor. So I liked it. It was good. It was good. Let's go sip 3. There was something else I was going to tell y'all. Don't know what it was. We're gonna scratch the cherry, and we're going to go vanilla, a very warm vanilla, almost like warm vanilla pudding is where I'm gonna stick that one at, and straight into some cinnamon, followed up directly by some butterscotch. So That's why I love this, because it changes almost with every sip. And again, I haven't had anything else to drink until I took this sip. So I think my palate's still adjusting, but overall, and even when I opened this the first night I had it, I had zero complaints about this 1792, and I currently also have zero complaints about the 1792. Still with the cinnamon, the butterscotch. Now that, on that sip, and that was like sip number 4, that spice came back just a little, but not, it was kind of like mixed with the cinnamon. So, and I'm going to call it a black pepper. That's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say that was. And it was phenomenal. Like, everything about this sip is phenomenal. I like it. I like it. It gets an A+ for me today. And I also would like to give a shout out to Charles over at That Bourbon Dude. He reached out to me last week, and he's a small channel. He's just starting out. I think y'all should go check him out. He's got personality, and like he does a lot of things that like I wish I could do, but my nerves and my anxiety won't let me do those things. So like, he's just a big personality, and I think it's awesome. So you should definitely go check him out, and you know, give him a like and a subscribe and a comment and whatnot. And that's my referral for today. I'm a small channel, he's a small channel, and I think we got to stick together. I think that's a great idea. Otherwise, we're gonna take one more sip because it's really good. Sit tight. Now that time was butterscotch almost all the way, and then almost, there was like, I think the little butterscotch disc, you know, that grandmothers used to have, those little butterscotch discs, one of them was wearing a leather jacket. No, we're not going to say a leather jacket. He was just wearing a leather belt. It wasn't that much leather. He's wearing just a tiny little leather belt around himself. And that was delicious. That was very good. And I'm so happy that I picked this up. And like, I may have to go back and get a second one because obviously store picks, I can't rebuy it again later, right? So I may have to go back and get another bottle just so I have it. And I don't typically buy 2 of the same bottle unless one is gone. But I'm not going to have an opportunity for much longer to pick up another bottle of the 1792 store pick from Big John. And I may have to go do that. So that's all I have for you for today. If you have any more information, and like I went to the Barton Distillery, but it's been 2.5 years ago, and I wasn't into bourbon that much back then. I was trying, I was learning. So like I've been to several distilleries, but unfortunately I went to those places before I was really into whiskey and bourbon. So I really need to make a trip back. I've been to Buffalo Trace, Maker's Mark, Woodford Reserve, Barton, you know, and I need to go back so that I can like completely enjoy the experience this time around and know a little more of what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, what I'm tasting. And that's where I'm at, and that's what I want to do. So, you know, maybe soon, we'll see. Maybe this summer. I'll try to do that this summer. Anyway, you guys go do something nice for somebody, be nice to everybody, and count your blessings. And I will see you guys, I'm going to say next week, Tuesday. It'll be Tuesday. So you guys take care, and I'll see you then. Cheers.